Welcome back to TC Talk Sports. The NBA regular season is finally here. The basketball gods have blessed us with a soon-to-be sensational NBA season this season, so I have to roll on with my team previews. Today I'm going to be talking about the New York Knicks, everyone's favorite team, everyone's least favorite team. It's going to be an interesting year for them for sure, a busy offseason, a disappointing end to the season last year. Let's get into it. Before I get into my breakdown about the Knicks, hit that subscribe button, please, please, please. I'll have previews for every single NBA team going into the 2025 season. Also follow the TC Talk Sports TikTok page. There's a lot of short form stuff on there. Get in there, like, share those videos, comment. I always reply to all of my comments. Try to start an argument on some of my opinions. You'll probably be wrong, but it'll be fun. It'll be funny. Subscribe to this page, follow that page, and let's have a great NBA season. The New York Knicks, a fantastic year last year, went 50-32, finished second in the East. Of course, they lost to the Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinals. It went 7 games. Knicks dealt with a lot of injuries in that series. Josh Hart, OG Anunoby missed a bunch of games. Jalen Brunson ended up getting hurt in that Game 7, which was already out of hand for the Knicks at that point. But if they didn't have all those injuries, who knows? They could have been NBA champions or at least made the championship. We don't know. A lot of Knicks fans upset over last season, but definitely positive signs going into this season. They finished 19th in scoring last year, 112 points per game, but that wasn't really their game. Most of it was set up from their defense. Gave up 108.2 points per game. That was second best in the NBA, fifth in grabbing rebounds. So they were physical down low, physical on defense, a great defensive team as a unit, and I don't expect really anything less out of that defensive side for them this year. The scoring, it's going to be interesting to see what happens for the Knicks. A lot of moves in the offseason. I'll get into that. Last year, they had a possible MVP candidate in Jalen Brunson. He made the second team All-NBA, scoring 28.7 points per game. Obviously a career high for him. That put him fourth in the league. The career high was 6.7 assists. Brought in 3.6 rebounds while shooting 40% from three. I mean, nothing short of an absolutely fantastic year for Jalen Brunson. Ever since he got drafted, I said he's a really good NBA player. He's going to be a really good NBA player. Saw him with the Mavs. I told everybody, this guy coming off the bench, Jalen Brunson, he wears those Kobe Grinches a lot. I mean, he's just a hooper. I always knew he would be good, and now he's finally proving it to the rest of the world. Guy they had last year, who they will not have this year, was Dante DiVincenzo. Also had a fantastic year for the Knicks. Career high in 15.5 points per game. Shot 40.1% from beyond the arc. Also a career high for him. Set a couple records in the three-point shooting record books. Also 1.3 steals per game. I think an underrated part of his game that people don't really appreciate is his on-ball defense. Usually guards the other team's best guard. Now they kind of have OG Anunoby to do that, but DiVincenzo, a very good three-point shooter and a really good on-ball defender, and I think the Knicks are just going to miss a little bit of that coming this season, but ultimately I think they're going to figure out the defense and still be a top 5 defending team in the league. As I mentioned, OG Anunoby, another really good on-ball defender. He averaged 1.7 steals last season. He played 23 games with the Knicks. Anunoby, 14.1 points per game. He shot 39% from three. He's not really known for his three-point shooting, but he can definitely knock down threes. Had multiple games with multiple made three-pointers last season. 4.4 rebounds, but the Knicks ultimately brought him in for his defense. He was kind of known for that with the Raptors, came over to the Knicks, and possibly even got better as a defender. Tibbs, of course, loves that. He's going to up his minutes coming into this season. If he's healthy, dealt with a couple injuries in the postseason last year, but he should be fine, and he'll really round out what's going to be a really solid starting 5 for the New York Knicks. They have a good starting 5, but that bench, I just don't know about that and their chances going forward. I think that their short bench, now somewhat depleted bench, an injury to Precious Achiuwa. He'll be out a couple weeks, so I don't know, but we'll see. As I said, busy offseason for the Knicks. First off, Mitchell Robinson, who probably could be the starting center or power forward, depending on how they want to use their newly acquired big guy from Minnesota. He's out until at least around January, so they're going to have to make up with his shot blocking and finishing at the rim abilities. But obviously, they have Karl Anthony Towns, traded Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo away for Cat. Last season, 21.8 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game. He shot 41.6% from threes. Hands down, one of the best three-point shooting big men in the NBA, and I assume he's going to carry that over to the Knicks. Didn't look too great in preseason, but I mean, it takes at least a couple days, a couple weeks to get comfortable on a new team. He was definitely a little sad leaving Minnesota. He was watching the preseason game on his phone while at whatever other sporting event he was at, but I think he'll fit in nicely with the Knicks, being that starting center, starting power forward, whatever it is, and I think he's going to play a lot of minutes now that they don't have Mitchell Robinson. They're going to be without Precious Achiuwa. They do have Jericho Sims, who played a couple minutes per game last season for the Knicks. He's going to get more playing time, but obviously that's a huge step down from Towns. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein, who I think is that's a huge blow to this Knicks team. We saw him in the postseason last year. A lot of people didn't even know who he was. Played like 25 minutes per game or something, but he looked kind of like Nikola Jokic, just the way he dribbles and wants to pass the ball. Obviously, he's nowhere near that top-tier skill level that Jokic is, but Hartenstein now on the Thunder. I think that's also a great team for him. They might be the favorites to win the championship this year, but especially now with their depleted front court, I think the Knicks are definitely going to be missing Hartenstein this season. They did sign Mikal Bridges from the Nets, obviously one of the best wing defenders in the league. I mean, he's going to be perfect for Coach Tibbs because this dude loves to play basketball. He tries to play every single game that he can. He's only missed 100 games out of his 574 game career so far. Even playing with the Nets, they were shitty the entire time he was there. He just wants to play ball, and that's the type of guy that the New York Knicks want. Athletic, long defender, gets in those passing lanes, gets steals, deflected passes. There have been some videos out online of him shooting threes, and it looked like he changed his form or whatever, but his jumper looks really ugly going into this season. I mean, he's never been a great three-point shooter or shooter from the outside, but I mean, he's a good player overall, went to Villanova, so he's going to fit in well with the Knicks. It's going to be interesting to see kind of what was the bigger impact, signing Cat or signing Bridges. Obviously, we're going to have to wait to see that, but loaded offseason for the Knicks. They also drafted Tyler Kolek out of Marquette in that second round last year. Kolek averaged 15.3 points per game, 49.6 field goal percentage, shot 38.8% from three. He's not really a big three-point shooter. I don't expect him to take more than one or two threes per game for the Knicks. Obviously, will be coming off of the bench, but they want him for his ball handling and passing abilities. 7.7 assists last season at Marquette, led the entire country in that category, and that's really his strong suit. Playmaking, ball handling, making good passes, flashy passes. He was a unanimous All Big East first team. I had to take a little pause because I usually can't pronounce that word, unanimous, but we did it. I mean, weakness-wise, he's not the biggest, strongest, or most athletic guy, especially at that point guard position, but I think his ball handling and playmaking abilities are going to earn him minutes in the NBA. I don't really think he'll be in the G League just because the Knicks really aren't that deep. I think he'll get some solid minutes off the bench in New York this season, and I think really he's only going to get better. I don't really see him being a draft bust, but I also don't see him as like a franchise-changing player. One of my favorite players last year in college basketball, so I'm excited to watch him on the NBA scale. Summer League, he played 5 games, averaged 9.6 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and he was tied 6th in Summer League with 7 assists per game. So, I mean, immediately we were seeing his college skills translate to the NBA level. Again, he's going to be an exciting player to watch. If you haven't watched Tyler Kolek, I recommend going back and watching some college highlights to get you ready to watch this kid in the NBA this season. My player to watch, I had Precious Achiuwa. He got injured recently. He's going to be out a couple weeks, but he's going to be that backup big guy. Could see starting minutes. 6'8", 240. He's a little smaller, but he's very aggressive on offense and defense. Last year, he played 49 games with the Knicks, also coming over from the Raptors. Averaged 24 minutes per game, so he got his opportunities. Scored 7.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, and shot 52.5% from the field. He's not a jump shot type of big guy. He scores down low, but he's really aggressive going for rebounds. He can defend out on the perimeter and in the paint. He's hurt, so we're going to have to wait to see him this season, but I think when he comes back, if he feels good, he's going to be an impact player for this Knicks team. He played well in the postseason last year, so I expect him to continue that success into this year. Prediction for the Knicks, first and foremost, I don't think they have enough depth to make a deep postseason run like a conference finals or NBA championship. I mean, they got Cam Payne, Deuce McBride, TJ Warren, now an NBA veteran. They're still going to make the playoffs if their defense plays as well as it did last season. I don't know if it'll be second in scoring and that high up in opponent field goal percentage, but I think they're going to have another really good year on the defensive side. The offense still might struggle a little bit, but they slow the tempo down. They take good shots. They have Jalen Brunson, who's going to be in the MVP conversation this season. No way they finish higher than second. I think second might be a little generous, but I also don't think they finish anywhere lower than fifth in the East because of that defense and because of how good their starting five is. Their starting five is good enough to get them second place in the East. I think they'll end up finishing like third to fifth, I think is a comfortable range for them, but I just don't think they have enough depth to get that one seed, make a deep run in the playoffs, but they're definitely going to make the playoffs and could be a sneaky team and a team you definitely aren't going to want to play come playoff time.